Danville's Ephraim McDowell Regional Medical Center has no COVID-19 patients, but there's been a recently completed ICU that is ready.
A basketball coach is moving from helping his players on the court to helping healthcare workers during this difficult time.
And our severe weather alert day continues as strong storms move through the mountains tonight. I'll have those details right now at 4:30.
We will continue our COVID-19 coverage in just a moment, but first we want to get you the latest on more severe weather that's possible through the overnight hours. We still have some strong storms out there right now in parts of the Big Sandy. Chief Meteorologist Paige Noel is keeping a close eye on this. Paige?
Yeah, Steve, we're still seeing that line of those showers and storms move through. Only have one warning right now, but it's kind of a big one and really includes all of Breathitt County. But you can see that line just south of I-64 in the Big Sandy region. We'll go ahead and take you up there. And we are seeing this kind of some heavier rain, some strong winds, and definitely some hail. We've gotten a lot of hail reports, mostly pea-size hail right now, but we're going to continue to see that heading into tonight. But there's that warning I was telling you all about. It has Breathitt County, a little bit of Wolfe County, as we're kind of seeing a stronger storm move through Campton right now, and just a sliver of Lee counties in that, but it doesn't look like they're seeing anything right now. And this goes until about 4:45, so still about 15 more minutes on that. But you see this line of some stronger showers and storms moving through parts of Magoffin, even into Floyd County, and starting to move into the Pikeville area. Nothing severe right now, but definitely some stronger storms. Now we still have this severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 8 p.m. tonight, but then we have another round that moves in throughout the overnight hours. We'll talk about that coming up in a little bit.
All right, Paige, thank you. A Central Kentucky hospital that serves multiple surrounding counties has an ICU ready for several dozen critical cases of COVID-19. That's according to an infectious disease and critical care doctor at Danville's Ephraim McDowell Regional Medical Center. WYMT's Phil Pendleton shows us how healthcare workers in Boyle County are preparing for cases to spike.
I'm just going to do one nostril.
200 have been tested at this Danville drive-up location.
We'll decide whether they need to go to the hospital for further evaluation or whether they need to go home and self-isolate.
So far, no one has been admitted to Ephraim McDowell Regional Medical Center with serious COVID-19 symptoms.
97.8.
In fact, everyone coming into the hospital has their temperature checked, including me when I went inside for this story. And inside that hospital is very little activity. It is the calm before the storm that no one wants.
For a small hospital system like Ephraim McDowell, we have been very proactive.
Since mid-February, they have worked to convert an infusion clinic to a 22-bed ICU. Rachel Walls is not a patient, but rather a clinical specialist fitted with a special non-evasive ventilation hood.
And this is with a helmet instead of the normal face mask. So this will allow us to give our patients more oxygen and to support their breathing if they're having difficulties breathing.
The ICU could start receiving patients within 2 to 3 weeks.
This is something that we haven't dealt with before. However, we've done as much as humanly possible to be ready for it.
COVID-19 means no visitors are allowed, and some emergency room functions are done outside.
The patients that possibly have respiratory symptoms, we come and get those from their car when they pull up and call our specially designated number.
Others can be treated outside in a special tent and never brought inside the main hospital building. In Boyle County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Dr. Petrie says the Kentucky School for the Deaf has offered the use of its gymnasium, and the National Guard can assist with additional beds if the need arises. There are now at least 1,149 confirmed COVID-19 cases in Kentucky, with people in at least 89 Kentucky counties impacted. The 31 counties you see there in gray are reporting no confirmed cases yet, but as the governor says almost daily, the virus is more than likely in every county. We will hear from the governor in less than 30 minutes. Toyota is extending its shutdown by another 2 weeks. The automaker was scheduled to reopen on April 20th. A letter sent to employees at the Georgetown plant now says Toyota will not reopen until May 4th. Toyota has said the shutdown was a production adjustment due to a decline in demand because of COVID-19. The virus has pretty much stopped sports altogether, but there is one person in Leslie County that took his talents from the basketball court to a 3D printer. WIMT's Camille Gear explains.
On a typical day, you can find Justin Rice on the sidelines.
Now's about the time we would start gearing up for summer ball.
But now he spends his days using a 3D printer.
I was contacted by one of my teachers that Home Health here in Leslie County had asked if we could print some.
Making so-called Montana masks.
Final products. And I thought I got to cut that time down. So then we've got it down now to about 2 hours and 55 minutes per mask.
Not only doing his part to help the community, but also those who could come into contact with COVID-19 every second at work.
You know, our first run we said that we would help Home Health with was 20. And then, you know, we contacted Hyden Health and Rehab and said, you know, we're going to try to get you 20 of these by the end of the week.
The kindness doesn't go unnoticed.
We were absolutely thrilled to see that our community members was willing to step up and help our frontline healthcare workers.
Hopefully teaching his students.
That's a big thing for me, is just, you know, trying to show my kids and even our players that, you know, I think Coach Cal says a lot, you know, servant leaders, and that's what we're trying to be.
And his players a valuable lesson along the way. In Leslie County, Camille Gear, WIMT Mountain News.
Rice encourages all schools and colleges with 3D printers to pitch in during this difficult time. Today, the Hazard Perry County Tourism Board donated $4,000 to Hazard Appalachian Regional Hospital. The money will be used to help the facility buy needed masks for frontline healthcare workers. Amazon says one person has been diagnosed with COVID-19 in its Lexington facilities. Amazon says the facility is being thoroughly cleaned. Temperatures are being taken and face masks are being handed out. Employees we talked to yesterday say they want the company to stop accepting returns until they have a safer working environment. We are hearing from a Kentucky man who's been stranded in China for months. COVID-19 was first reported in Wuhan, China. The city just ended a 10-week lockdown. Mark Wetton often travels there for work, and unfortunately, his most recent trip coincided with the start of the shutdown. Wetton says he was isolated and required to report his temperature to local officials daily. He's now urging everyone back home to take this seriously.
We need to put all the politics and all that nonsense behind us and start thinking about how we can do a better job of helping each other survive through this thing.
Wetton is in good spirits. He says he cannot wait to see his family when he comes back to the States in May. Nearly 2,000 Americans died of the coronavirus Tuesday, the most in a single day by far. The death toll is now fast approaching 14,000, and those numbers could be even higher because of underreporting. Meanwhile, some doctors in New York say they are seeing an encouraging number of people coming off ventilators. The CDC is expected to issue new guidelines for critical workers returning to the job as Congress and the White House work to add additional funding to a popular small business loans program. The Vice President held separate conference calls with House Republicans and Democrats on the coronavirus response as the administration seeks congressional approval of an additional $250 billion for its small business loan program.
There are a lot of people working really hard to make this thing work, and hopefully tomorrow more money will be put into the program as well so that no one is left behind.
Congressional Democrats are also calling for an extra $250 billion on top of the small business loans request for health care centers and state and local governments, as well as an increase for SNAP benefits. Today we talked with Senator Mitch McConnell about some concerns surrounding COVID-19. He spoke with us just moments after he had talked to the Vice President about helping the state receive personal protective equipment and more testing kits. The senator told us this is one of the toughest times this country has faced.
Much broader impact than after 9/11. So, and the other dilemma we have is we don't yet have either a treatment or a vaccine to deal with this the next time it comes back. So This is in many ways, I think, a bigger challenge. Requires everybody in the country to participate by staying at home during this period. We're all in this together in a much bigger way than we were after 9/11 or after the financial meltdown a decade ago.
Despite the pandemic, Democrat Amy McGrath has raised a ton of cash for her Senate campaign. Her announcement came after Senate Majority Leader McConnell said he'd raised $7.5 million, his biggest fundraising quarter ever. McGrath upped the ante, raking in nearly $13 million. She leads the pack in fundraising among Democrats who want to challenge McConnell. Kentucky's primary is now set for June 23rd. Coming up on Mountain News at 4:30, hear from a seismologist about how this decreased activity is actually helping them study earthquakes more accurately.
And we are in an enhanced risk. Remember, that's a 3 out of 5 on the severe weather scale, and that's mostly because of the line of showers and storms moving in overnight. I'll have those details coming up in a little bit.